probably going to get a thing that says recording in progress. Okay.
Mhm.
This is going to be very important, and that's why I'm recording now.
Yeah.
So you're not the first person that's been in your situation. Okay. And I'm talking about the training situation. And this is the
Mhm.
problem that I have with um, certain businesses and stuff like that. Okay. Is that remote that you have, if I may see it again? Okay. Yes. That's meant for like a 35-pound dog and under.
Oh.
Okay. And I believe it
Um,
only has like 10 settings and low, medium, high. Is that correct?
this one's 7, low, medium, high, and the one that he responds to the most is actually the sound. Like if we
Okay.
press for the sound, that's the one he dislikes.
Yeah. So the sound doesn't do anything in the long run
Mhm.
because it's just a sound. It's a neutral technically. There's no real aversive. The
Mhm.
power of the e-collar is in the stem, okay, which is what people would call as the shock. Okay. So yours has low, medium, high, and only 7 levels. So technically speaking, you have a total of 21, with 21 being the max. Okay. So a very common thing they come across, and I just did another console right now. It was the same problem. It was a 70-pound dog on not that particular model of collar, but a model of comparable strength.
Mhm.
Okay. So when you get a dog like a Mastiff, um, prong collar is a great tool, but a Mastiff will overpower a prong collar. Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
So prong collar and e-collar, which was like, okay, good. Like at me as a trainer is what I would tell you to do.
Mhm.
So then I'll go, that's why I want to see the e-collar. And that's not the right e-collar. But then also, whenever someone says, "Oh, they didn't get to e-collar until the end," to me that's BS.
Mhm.
Okay, and I come across these stories more than I like. Okay, a lot of times trainers will avoid things till the end because they don't know what they're doing or they don't know how to do it. Okay. So a very common thing would be, oh, my dog did a board and train. And I'll say, oh, cool. Did they teach heel? And they go, well, they taught it at the end of the program. And I'm like, heel is the first thing that your dog will learn here because it's the
Mm.
most important thing that your dog should learn, especially if your dog is leash reactive. Okay.
Yeah.
The most common problem that I deal with is leash pulling and leash reactivity. Okay. So why am I going to have my client work on the most important thing at the very end? Okay.
Mhm.
For us, it's the first thing that we teach, whether it's a board and train, a daycare and train, or an in-person private one-on-one. Okay. Heel is the best way to teach e-collar because most people walk their dog multiple times a day. So that's multiple times a day that you're exposing your dog to the tool, but then you are yourself are also getting regular experience with the tool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I do get some very difficult cases where I'll tell the client, we want to start in the easier context, but we're still going to work on heel first, and then we'll gradually work you into like a busy scenario, right? I get that
Mhm.
kind of stuff, but a lot of programs, it's like, oh, heel is the last thing that we learned, or we didn't cover it at all, or our dog wasn't progressing fast enough for them to learn it. I go, no, that all is on the trainer. Okay, I don't believe in a dog being untrainable. Okay,
Yeah.
I
No, I
I
don't
have.
I don't either. And Ralph is actually, so just to give you a little bit of context, he came back to us from board and train.
Mhm,
He knew the commands better,
mhm,
but not like, on
yeah,
point.
mhm,
And we've gone back, I want to say we went back about 8 to 10 times throughout the year, saying
mhm,
like, hey, we're still really struggling with the lunging. We're still really struggling with these things. We got a 20-minute refreshers got sent home.
mhm,
And so very recently I said, I'm going to pay you and you will do private lessons and you will take me to the park and we will do this together. And so
mhm.
we've made a lot of progress in the last couple months, but that's
That's
been
good.
one-on-one, this is him.
Yeah, I see
He was
him.
under, yeah. One-on-one, very dedicated. And we started at the training facility. We've went to outdoors and now we are at the park. So we have actually made some progress, but
Mm,
it's very slow and it's very
yeah.
um
The reason
sporadic.
why it's slow is because the tool that you're using is not appropriate to your situation.
Mhm.
Okay. Like I've had some very difficult reactivity cases. Almost always by the fifth class is when we're going to get it done. And
Mhm.
the reason why it takes so long is that I already know what I need to do, but I need the owner to go through all the stages. Okay. Because
Mhm.
typically, and I'm not saying this of Ralph because I won't know until I meet him,
Mhm.
but when I get my very severe cases, almost always the answer is we're maxed out on the collar and we're doing harsh corrections to the behavior
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah.
But we start low, we work our way up. Okay. So if I'm working with the client, I know that I have to be high up. They don't know that. Right. So if I just go to max power on the first lesson to stop a behavior, they leave thinking like, holy crap, like I just blasted my dog, you know? So we start low and we go through all the phases, working our way up, and like it didn't work, it didn't work, it didn't work. So finally, when I go, we have to max it out, it makes sense to them because they're like, well, we've already done everything else and it wasn't working.
Hmm.
So once we hit that point, then I'll tell them we're going to do this, and then you're going to take 2 weeks before I see you next, and then you're going to follow up with me to let me know if we're making progress. And then I get the email, hey, Jesse, the reactivity is finally starting to stop. I go, great. Continue another week, and then I'll see you then, just to make sure that it's sticking. Okay.
Hmm.
And then we pick up because reactivity, once you understand how to correct it and address it, it's easy. It's just what are we going to need to do to stop the behavior? Okay. And then because it's a waste of time to continue to rehash the same thing over and over again, time and money, right?
Yeah.
I view it as like if I hire a plumber to come and do something, I expect the job to be done when they leave, right?
Hmm.
I'm the same way as a dog trainer. If a client hires me to do something, right, it's not an easy, we'll get it done in a class fix a lot of the time, right? But the client leaves going, wow, I feel good. I feel like I'm making progress now. And it's noticeable enough that they feel motivated, like, okay, cool. I'm going to continue with this now, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the e-collar is a big thing, and also understanding just how to correct dogs in general with e-collar correctly. But then also, if he did a 6-week board and train and e-collar didn't happen to the end, then I'm thinking also that a lot of conditioning wasn't done, and conditioning is very important in order
Yeah.
for him to understand how the e-collar is working.
Yeah.
Okay, it's such a ridiculous amount of time, and in my opinion, for a simple behavior. Okay, it's
Hmm.
just his size that makes it difficult.
It is, and
Because it.
he can overpower, and I think that's kind of what you're hinting at. But one thing that I will add that's we've learned in these last couple months that we've really kind of put our foot down and have been making some progress is
Mhm,
um, his biggest trigger. When we go outside, there's a lot of
mhm,
things out there that he gets excited about. He wants to go at.
mhm,
His biggest trigger is actually me.
mhm,
So it's me and the protector, like people come near me, even
mhm.
if the trainer is handling him, that's what's really causing a lot of the
Is he
reactivity.
neutered?
So he is.
Okay. So, yeah, that's resource guarding, right? Or possession,
Hmm.
territorial behavior.
Yeah, and I'm the
Um,
resource because his food, he doesn't care. I could put my hand in there, does not
yeah,
care,
yeah.
but it's me.
People
I'm the
don't think
resource.
of it that way, but you are the resource,
Hmm.
correct? Because
Yeah,
you provide
exactly.
food, you provide the walks, you
That's
provide the
exactly
water,
right.
the love, the
Hmm.
affection, right?
Yeah.
So, now keep in mind, I cannot make Ralph like people entering your space.
No,
Okay,
and we have there's a certain level of realistic expectations that we
correct.
have learned to set, and he will never be a normal dog. We've already come to terms with that, but
Mhm.
I think he can do a lot better at living in the human world.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. Because I have like for example, a client emailed me a couple of days ago. Their dog resource guards them. It's also a
Hmm.
female. Her dog's a pit. And I told her, remember, I cannot make the dog like people coming into your space, right?
Hmm.
But I can teach you how to introduce your dog to other people correctly, so on and so forth. But if the dog's ever at your feet and someone enters your space, yes, we can work on it, but it comes with a lot of liability, especially for you because
Hmm.
you have this mastiff, right?
Yeah.
And I go, and
Yeah.
really, what's the benefit of it? Like, it's just like, okay, so a person can enter your space, like, great, you know.
Hmm.
But if you're walking with him and he's like lunging at people, that completely is not acceptable. That we
Exactly.
can correct. That's not a problem. So I give realistic expectations, but also teach you to understand dog behavior, where it's coming from, how can we foresee problems, how can we avoid problems, how we prevent problems, but then also if the problem's already here, the capacity to stop the problem. Okay.
Hmm.
The one
Yeah.
thing to keep in mind is that we'd have to upgrade that collar,
Okay.
which is a Doctor Black edition. We always start with that first, okay? And the prong collar. I'd advise the prong collar as well.
Yep. He's
Because
already on that one.
yeah.
Hmm.
So prong collar just gives you more leverage, is all it does.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is if we find that Ralph's behavior is still being difficult to manage, okay, then that tells me the intensity of his behavior is greater than the consequence that the e-collar is delivering. Okay. So the solution to that would be we would pair a second e-collar to your system.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
This is very rare. I've had maybe 5 to 6 dogs in 16 years where this was the solution. Almost all of them, actually, uh, all of them but one were all aggression cases. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Rottweiler. Another one was a bully, which was like 150, 160 pound dog. It was like a pip, like a
Wow.
massive pity, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All with aggression issues. And they were overriding a singular collar. Okay. Because we
Mm.
have to think we have the size of the dog, we have the thickness of the coat, right? He's got a short coat, so that's not really a problem. We
He's
have
got a lot of like flabby skin though,
the
which
flab,
gets in the
yeah, the
way.
loose
Yeah.
skin, that because that inhibits contact. We have the emotional state, the dog's under stress, right? All these things factor
Mm-hmm.
in when it comes to the e-collar. So I always start with one, and then we go, let's see how it goes, right? And if we're working with
Mm-hmm.
them and we're seeing less of the reactivity and we feel like we're making progress, and I go, great, what we're doing is working. If we end up maxed out and you're like, Jesse, this guy is a beast, like he is not responding, I know he feels it because you can see the neck twitching, I go,
Yeah.
we need another collar. Okay.
Okay.
And all it means is it's the same level but two going off at the same time, which gives you that much more pressure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when a dog's in an agitated state, it's just a matter of getting through that agitation to where he's like, hey, I feel this and it sucks, how do I turn it off? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he stops the reactivity, the pressure turns off, and he goes, oh, when I became reactive, this thing turned on. It became uncomfortable enough to the point that I didn't like it. But when I changed my behavior, it turned off. Right. And then we rinse and repeat that exercise. And then ideally, it's like, okay, cool. If needed, I have him on two collars. And if I tap him at 60, he stops the behavior right away. It's no longer like trying to like, rein him in and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. So it should always feel straightforward. Anytime we're doing e-collar training, I tell clients it should always feel straightforward. It's not that we won't have moments of difficulty, especially if a dog's being resistant or if the dog is like anxious or nervous or fearful. Like there's going to be hiccups, but once we get past it, like it's like okay, like I feel like I'm making progress here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I play all this by ear. I won't know until he's officially back with you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's possible that he's with me, that he could give me resistance to the point where I'm like, I need another caller, and I would let you know. But chances are he would be fine. And then once he goes home, you're the feedback that tells me, hey, Jesse, I'm doing everything you taught me. And he's difficult to rein in. And I've already remoted him at 127, at a dog walking towards us, and he just kept lunging. And then I could tell he felt it and he was just ignoring it. Then I go, we need the second caller for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because you give him something to protect.
Yeah, and I can totally see a situation where the level of correction is different when I'm in the room versus
Mhm.
when I'm not in the room.
Correct.
So I can see that as well.
Yeah. And it's all play it by ear. Like I
Hmm.
always play things worst case scenario. So the owner goes into it with an expectation, right?
Yes.
Not that it's going to be that bad, but they go, Jesse said this is a possibility because he's worked with
Hmm.
large dogs like this before. And maybe we're there, maybe we're not, right? So then if it does happen, you're not surprised. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
I've done this long enough and I've worked with all the crazy dogs that like nothing really surprises me, but the owners don't know the stuff. You know,
Yeah.
that dog's going crazy. Like, is this normal? I'm like, it's not normal, but it's normal for what you're dealing with, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
I expect it. So I always try to call things ahead of time. So the owner goes, okay, like Jesse must know what he's talking about because he did say this is a possibility. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, Hopefully through proper conditioning, proper e-collar training, that's really just all that's missing. Right now, the red flags for me are I don't think conditioning was done correctly. I'm sure
Yeah.
they did training. I'm not saying that they didn't. I'm saying that it just wasn't good enough to the point where he took it more seriously than the stressor that he's feeling. Okay.
Right.
E-collar conditioning, more more trainers do it wrong than you would think, unfortunately. I've had to retrain many a dog that would completed a board and train or did prior e-collar training with another trainer. And then I come in, I'm like, it was done incorrectly. And then my client's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if you remote the dog for not going to place, your dog should go to place, right? That's what the remote is for.
Hmm.
It's to correct them to
Hmm.
say, you still got to do the thing. And they're like, but my dog knows place because when I say it, they go there. I go, right. They know to go to place with the word. They don't know to do it with the remote. That's why I
Yeah.
say it's not conditioned correctly.
Yeah.
Your e-collar is meant to reinforce what you say. And if the dog doesn't know how it works, then we're literally getting nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Questions on any of that?
Um, no, I actually this is pretty in line with what I was expecting. So
Okay.
I think that was just a really good recap. And I completely agree. And that was something that we were pretty aware of that, the e-collar did not get done right. And that's honestly why we discontinued it because we
Yeah.
didn't want to desensitize him to something that was not being used
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah, it's the moment you showed me the remote, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no. Because
Yes, so we're trying to be educated and aware of these things. So we were like, we're not using it right. We want to be able to use it in the future, and
yeah,
that's why we're not going to use it now.
you'd be
So,
surprised how often a client comes to me and the trainer put them on the wrong
mhm,
model of e-collar. It's very
yes.
common. Okay.
The only other question I have on this is we have him on the prong.
Hmm.
So he got prong trained at Born and Trained. He came back to us, and I wrote this in the intake, but
Hmm.
um, he reacts to it very negatively. He will
Hmm.
turn and try and bite the leash because he doesn't like it. The leash is the enemy, right? If he bites the
Hmm.
leash, then we can't correct him.
Uh-huh.
So for a little while he was on a gently, so like the one around the
Yep.
nose. He did a lot better on that, but it wasn't really it didn't the intensity of the gently correction did not match the intensity of his behavior. So we
Correct.
were we were feeling a little bit stuck in that. So he's back on the prong right now that we're working directly with the trainer.
Hmm.
And so far so good, but he still tries to bite out the leash.
What does he do? What is the trainer having you do to help him with the prong collar?
Um, I don't know how to answer that question really. I mean, they've run him through it. They're teaching me how to do the short, they call it a bop,
Hmm.
um,
The
short
corrections.
correction and then release. Yeah, so I think I could do a little bit better at that. That's not something that I've fully mastered just yet. Um,
Do you know how
but
they condition the prong collar?
I don't know how they did it in the past. No.
So
Um,
I'm not opposed to the corrections, like the
mhm,
popping. Okay, that's part of the process. So old school training of e-collar is known as a yank and crank. Are you familiar with that
mhm,
term? Okay, so
mm-mm,
yank and crank is um, you tell the dog to sit, they don't sit, and you pop them. Right?
mhm,
It's a very big gap between like a sit with treats, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, if you don't sit, I'm gonna bite you on the prong because that's what the prong is
yeah,
meant to do, to bite, right?
yeah,
As
yeah.
opposed to like, for example, I have a dachshund puppy right now. She's 10 months, and she's doing e-collar. But I told the client, whenever we're dealing with puppies, I highly suggest that clients do a 3-week board and train because we do 1 week of prong collar conditioning, how pressure turns on, how pressure turns off, to prep them for e-collar. Okay, because e-collar is unnatural. If it was an adult dog, I don't care. But puppies, it's best if you do prong and then e-collar. Okay,
Mhm,
so
mhm,
when I introduced the e-collar, I'm sorry, the prong collar, it's very subtly. Okay, so like I'm lightly pulling on the leash, and once the dog moves with the pressure, I release the pressure and then reward the dog.
mhm.
Okay, so like let's say he has a dog bed, Ralph, right?
Yep,
You
he's got
take
a
it,
placemat hammock thing. Yep.
perfect. You very gently start to pull, and then obviously as he's standing there, it would begin to bite, right? And
Mhm,
you'll feel the bite through the leash because of tension.
mhm,
Maybe he does this and he bucks back a little bit. I continue to pull, right? Maybe he bites at the leash. I continue to pull firmly but gently. And then eventually he may move forward and then jump on the bed. That's where everything stops. Okay.
okay.
And then I would reward him. So it's not place. And then if he doesn't do it, I correct him. Is you're using the gradual tension and pressure of the prong collar to direct him. Okay. And then we
Yep,
pair it with food for him to understand, like, oh, this thing here on my neck, the moment I decide to do something, it goes away, right? Which is the reward. But then also I get something out of it, which would be
yeah,
the food, which is secondary reward, right? So the conditioning is to help teach him how the collar turns on and how the collar turns off. Okay. It's the same thing with e-collar,
yeah.
just the tool is different.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very different than what we're doing now, which is just, he
Okay.
disobeys, and if you say it once, he disobeys, then the next one comes, the next command, you repeat the command, and then you bop it together. That's what
Yeah.
we're doing
So
now.
yeah. So that most likely he's getting frustrated.
And
Okay.
yes, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. because he's not understanding what's being communicated.
He
Okay,
doesn't
even
know
with
how to make it stop except to bite the leash and yank around.
yeah, and
That's
become
that's what
resistant.
he has learned to stops the correction. And so it for us it's been a little bit of a challenge because he has nipped us. That's where our hand is. It's on the leash, right? So
Mhm. Yes,
that's been a little bit of a challenge.
yeah, um, yeah. It's unfortunate, but
It's
that's
a
where we're
coincidence. I mean, he's not aiming at us, right? He's aiming at the
yeah,
leash, and
no,
we
it's
just
it's
happen to be
out of
there.
frustration. Like
Mhm.
dogs aren't dumb. Like he understands that the leash gives you some degree of control, right? And it's not that a
Mhm.
dog won't become resistant to the prong collars, like because they don't like it. It's normal, but
Mhm.
how you approach it will impact how they perceive it, right?
Yeah.
So if it's like just like this thing turns on and it sucks if they tell me because it just does that, right? It just bites me, as
Yeah.
opposed to this gradual increase of pressure. And the moment he responds, it disappears, right? Now he's going, oh, cool. Now we have a communication device. Okay.
Mhm.
So the good thing is that it can always be retaught.
Okay.
Okay. It can always be reconditioned. I've done this over and over again. It's not difficult. And watch him be difficult. It happens. Okay. Because that's what I would suggest that we would do
Yeah.
is since they've e-collar, it doesn't seem like they touch for a whole lot, so I'm not worried about that. But with prong collar, it would be a part of the how to say your setup, right? Is that
Mhm.
we want to make sure that it's conditioned correctly because the last thing that we want is if he's conditioned correctly with the e-collar, but then incorrectly on the prong collar, right? Is you're going to be using your prong collar to a degree, it's going to cause frustration based upon previous experiences. But then we have the added stressor of I'm also correcting you with the e-collar. And that's where
Mm.
things can begin to get more frustrating. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and what happens is then the dog bites you, and it's not because he's biting you because he wants to be aggressive to you. He's
No.
biting you because he's overwhelmed, and he's
Yeah.
like, I need to do something to stop this. And my only defense mechanism that I know that I have for sure is the fight response. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's all good information to know. Bup, 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 bup. Any other questions? Anything else I should know about with Ralph?
Not on tools. The only other thing I'll mention is he did have an incident. Again, I wrote this in the intake as well with our neighbor. We were on our walk and he went potty. I went down to go pick up poop, and the leash slipped from my hand. There was someone across the street. He ran up to them, and that person, in surprise, stuck out their hands, right, like stop, and he
Mhm.
he bit the tip of their finger. So,
Was there a puncture?
yes, I believe like the pad of their finger is now missing. So, I mean, we're going through all the legal stuff right now.
Oh well, okay.
Hmm.
Um, so in my opinion, he could have done a lot more.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if he was like legitimately like, I'm gonna, fuck you up,
Oh
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
so
Hmm.
that I think if that person would have kept their hands to their side and just stood still, I don't think anything would have happened other than barking.
I think he would have barked and growled and kind of like gone
Yeah.
down, and then I would have caught up to him by then. But yeah, she stuck her
Yeah.
hands right in front of her,
Hmm.
and easy access.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Because now from his perspective, right, that becomes threatening.
yeah,
Right? And then he goes,
exactly.
he's already escalated, and then she does that, and then it just goes.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
that's the only thing I would add, that, that it's recent. It's recent. I don't know if he remembers it, right? Like, I don't know exactly how that all tracks in his mind, but
uh
we didn't punish him for it or anything. We brought him straight home. We put him in his crate. We addressed the victim and kind of went from there. So,
okay.
um,
Yeah, dogs don't think about past or future, they think present. The
mhm,
only way that that would possibly, how'd you say, come up again is if he saw that lady and like kind of remembered the interaction,
mhm,
right? Where he would be growling, or maybe he would lunge again because he's like, hey, we had a bad experience with each other, right? And
right.
he's just gonna pick up where he left off. Otherwise, I just think it was like all the wrong things at the right time, like the perfect storm.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, they
Um,
don't think so, but
yeah, I get it, but
yeah. But
honestly,
for our training purposes, I'm on the same page with you.
yeah. Um, when it's most of the time when a dog bites someone or even another dog, it's like things are done wrong.
Mhm.
You know, It's very rare that I get a dog where it's like, oh, this dog's like an asshole and just like legitimately just wants to like bite people or bite dogs or whatever.
Yeah.
Usually there's reason behind it. Okay.
Mhm.
And again, like had she not done that, which I understand as a human, right? Like you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like
No.
big dog.
Big
So
dog came up to me suddenly. I mean, but I would do that to some degree. I mean, I know better to go like this, but
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, if you're not
So
used to it.
is he muzzle conditioned?
He is on a muzzle now since that happened.
Good.
We have had a hard time finding the correct fitting muzzle, so if you have recommendations, I would love to receive some.
He needs a probably a custom.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you done custom or no?
No, we haven't done it. We were a little worried about it not arriving in time here, so
Sure.
we're
You're
we're
good.
gonna.
So what
Mhm.
you can do is if you go online, they'll ask for the measurements, right? There'll be the circumference, the bridge, and then I think like the head or neck or something like that.
Mhm.
It'll tell you, and then you do all the measurements, and then you send it to them. You don't want a cage muzzle, like a metal cage muzzle,
He's on
okay?
a soft fabric one right now
Like a
that
grooming
goes
muzzle.
it goes around his nose, like his
Yeah,
snout. The tip of his snout is still like he can get his tongue out and you can
yeah, yeah.
still, yeah.
Okay, but
So
it keeps
that's
the mouth
most,
closed.
yes.
Okay, so that's a
Um,
temporary muzzle.
yes, it's not the right solution, but
Hmm.
again, we're still working out which one's going to be the right one for him.
Hmm.
He's totally fine on it. He doesn't resist it or, I mean, he obviously doesn't like it, but
Yeah, yeah.
he doesn't fight it.
So, yeah, if you go on Google and you look up custom Mastiff muzzle,
Hmm.
you'll find websites dedicated to this,
Okay.
But so they're usually leather or like polypropylene material.
Polypropylene. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, which is like a fancy word for like rubber. Either of those is fine. But they'll take measurements and then you'll put in the measurements and you submit them. But you'll also see like brands like I think like maybe Jafco. Actually Jafco might have one his size, but you don't want metal muzzles.
Hmm.
Because if I don't know if you ever heard of muzzle punching, where like a dog will lunge and then they'll punch you with the muzzle instead of biting you.
Hmm.
And a metal muzzle sucks if you get punched by it.
I'm sure.
So a softer muzzle, like it still sucks, but like it's not as bad as a metal muzzle.
Yeah, and part of our issue right now, and again, still looking for the right solution, is it's hot here, and
Mhm.
the one that he's got on now, he can't pant quite enough,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he's overheating a little, so that's a concern. And then he's a very sensitive skin dog, so he actually has like a bunch of sores and
Oh,
acne from when he tries to open it and his chin hits, it's
mhm.
aggravating him. So we're looking
Interesting.
for a better option.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So you might have to, because of the skin stuff, like, try
We'll
different
try
things out.
we'll try a bunch of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, but the muzzle really is to take off some anxiety because it's going to
mhm,
be a transition.
yeah.
Uh, Coming from Vegas to here, you're not the first person. You're not going to be the last person who goes from like a calmer environment to busy Chicago. I've had people like move into downtown Chicago from like
Oh,
the
yeah.
quiet farm town.
No.
But yeah, Ukrainian Village, thankfully, it's busier than where what you're used to, but you shouldn't be like overwhelmed.
We
Okay,
picked the apartment specifically. It doesn't have a yard, which we actually did intentionally because that we felt that was a little bit of a liability for us with a shared
sure,
yard.
makes sense.
But we're only 1 block away from Humboldt Park, so that was all intentional.
Humboldt Park is massive. You'll
Hmm.
have plenty of space to like
Yes.
take them out for a walk and still be. Now, one thing, of course, is ideally, I want you to get to a point where you feel like you can just walk Ralph wherever.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but it is nice to go and like some days you go like, I don't want to have to think about my
Hmm.
environment and Ralph. I just want to have a nice little walk with him. Then you go to these, quiet park of Humboldt Park or whatever. But
Yeah.
then if it's like I don't have time to like get him to that part of the park and I have to walk him around the neighborhood, you should also have the confidence and the training and everything that you'll
Yes.
get from
Yeah.
us to be able to do that too. Okay.
Yeah. And that would definitely be a goal, but we chose this intentionally for, our transition into
Mhm.
this. We thought this would be the best solution
Yeah.
for now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you guys did your homework.
Yeah.
Um,
We've been
so
working on it for a while.
yeah, no, for sure. I get it. You're not again, I get these stories I get regularly. Not all the time, it's not everybody. But a few times a year, it's like, this is our dog, and I'm like, wow, like I'm sorry that you've had this long journey, and like I've had clients where it's like 5, 6 different trainers, thousands of dollars in, and like they're on still at day one of like no
Oh yeah,
progress, and I'm
yeah.
like, nope, we're gonna get this done.
No, and something that I guess I don't know if it's totally relevant to the training per se,
Hmm.
but that makes me really optimistic is um his behavior is very situational, which makes
Hmm.
me think that if we can balance that out for him, that he could actually improve a lot more than where he's at now.
Hmm.
And so we are able to introduce him to new people in a
Hmm.
certain way. Like we can't just like walk up to them in the street, but
Sure.
he's been successful at being introduced with happy drags and then no leash. That
Hmm.
that has worked really well for us.
Hmm.
And we'll still muzzle him just for protection, but that's worked. We had a guest here over the weekend staying with us at home, and he met her on Friday, and on Saturday he was like obstructing the kitchen, and she walked over him, no big deal, didn't even
Hmm.
flinch.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things that we see as positives, but again,
Hmm.
doesn't stop the other things from being a challenge.
Correct. Yeah, it's all about understanding dog behavior, which is part of what I
Mm-hmm.
do. Like
Mm-hmm.
obedience is one part of the problem, right? Or the answer, and then like understanding dog behavior is the other part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, like so at my facility, on a busy day we'll have like 50 dogs, and like clients will walk in, like I'll do consults. Like I had a consult before you. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, there's 30 dogs here today. And that's slow for us because it's a Monday. And I was like, and it's quiet. And he's like, really? He's like, man, he's like, I walking up across the street, I heard nothing but barking. And go, right. I'm like, that's just a free for all daycare, but for us, we're structured here. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
dogs never bark. It's that they don't bark all the time. But if like a stranger walked into the kennel room, they would probably bark because they're like, who are you? Right. But
Yeah.
we've had
Yeah.
plumbers come in, we've had electricians, and they'll bark, and then we quiet them down, and then they'll do their work, and they're like, everybody's just chill, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which in your case with Ralph, because what can happen is when dogs get left in these environments, they're constantly under stress because of the environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a feedback loop. So then when we bring them into a quiet environment, it's not that there won't be stress, there's going to be a degree of stress, but at some point he's able to relax and go, okay,
Yeah.
like I'm stressed because I'm away from my family or I'm an unknown environment, so on and so forth, or the stress of the training, but I'm not stressed because of the environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he right now doesn't meet any dogs, just because of, the kind of training we're doing and some of the challenges we've had with him. But he's
Hmm.
met dogs in the past.
Hmm.
He had a play date. He had like a Great Dane named Elvis that he loved.
Hmm.
So like he can get along with dogs, but we haven't quite found the right formula yet. Like, is it big dogs? Is it male dogs? Is it female dogs? We haven't quite figured out what does or does not cause him stress.
That I can help you with.
Mm-hmm.
How to introduce dogs correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there you're able to then decipher what you're saying, because like let's say like right now you don't know, but then once you have the structure down, right, then you apply it to like your neighbor's dog, and maybe it's a medium-sized female but who's very excited, and maybe he doesn't like that dog, and I'm like, it's probably the excitement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you try with another medium female dog who's calmer, and then he likes that dog. And you're like, oh, okay. The excited female, same size and everything, female, whatever. But the
Yeah.
excited he didn't vibe with, but the calm, chill energy he vibe with, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now that kind of steers you in like, okay, now let's try calm, medium size male, right? And then maybe that goes well. And then you try a different energy and it doesn't go well. You see what I'm saying? You start to
Mm-hmm.
realize like, okay, and that's what helps you kind of know which dogs you can
Yeah,
fill fight
that's
with.
that's something that we'd love some help with because I really I personally believe that part of his frustration is he wants to go meet that dog that's across the street, right? And the only way that he knows how to make that happen is to lunge and drag me across the street because
Hmm.
we're not allowing it and he doesn't get that interaction on a regular basis. Like it's not part of his normal routine. So it's
Hmm.
very, very excitable. And so I think that's going to be part, and you can definitely let me know what you think, but I think that's part of what is exacerbating what we're seeing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. Anything else about Ralph I should know?
Mm, he's never met children.
Okay.
Um,
Has he
we
seen
don't have
children?
any. We've walked past playgrounds, no reaction. But he's never actually met or interacted with children.
Okay.
So that's just something to know. We don't have any, and we don't really know anyone with children either.
Okay. Is there plans in the future?
Mhm, yeah.
Okay.
Um, we're not too terribly concerned because again, it's like his people, like that's he's fine with that, but because of his size and his weight and some of his previous background, that would still be something we'd want to look into.
Yeah, yeah. So how old is he right now? You said three?
3.
Three.
Mhm.
And they live on average of about 8 years old, eight,
Mhm.
10. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, our last Mastiff lived to 12. So he's not our
Okay.
first Mastiff. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
He's just the most challenging one.
Yeah, yeah, no, it happens. I get clients like I had labs all my life, and then I got this lab, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, when it comes to kids, I'm always about space and distance. And like we have our son, he's like 20 months. We have three
Mhm.
dogs, a Pit, a Chihuahua, and a Pyrenees mix. All our
Mm,
dogs came to us with
fun.
problems.
Mhm.
Okay. My Pit Lexi, I'm her fourth owner. From 2 months to 3 months, she went through three different homes. Okay. So she's a
Oh,
lot of dog for a puppy. She's
yeah.
great. She's my right hand girl. My Chihuahua Poncho was given to me at a year. He was dog aggressive, dog reactive. When
Mm,
I first got him, my wife's dog, who I trained, and that's how we met. Her dog was scared of everything, wouldn't come out her car, now runs around off leash, and is
mm,
also nervous, reactive, right? And they're great dogs because they have us as owners. But even with our son, like he doesn't interact with them a whole ton. It's
mhm.
like very controlled. Um, and then my wife's like, well, would you ever trust them with them? And it's not. I was like, it's the. I was like, you got to remember that they all came with us with problems.
Mhm.
That it's hard to remember that because it's been so long. When
Yeah.
before when you're living in it, it's one thing, right? But then once
Well,
you move past it,
and even if they move past it, it's still gonna be a part of them to
mhm,
some degree, right? Like that's
yeah. Like, and
mhm,
the other thing about my dogs is my dogs will correct, right? So like,
mhm,
Lexi, my Pit, in the 16 years that I've had her, has tried to correct me 2 to 3 times for things, right? Like,
mhm.
so example here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, this spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What
Bruce.
happened was there was a really bad storm and she has storm anxiety. And it was torrential rain, and I took her out to go potty. And she was, well, I was trying to take her out to go potty. She was freaking out. She was tucked in the corner. So I
Mhm,
went behind her to flush her out so that I could get her to go outside. Well, she wasn't having it, and she turned around and jumped at me, and she got me pretty good. Okay.
mhm.
And I was pissed, but then I was like, you're that stressed that you're correcting me for trying to get you to go outside.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just let it. I was like, all right, I just put her in a crate for the night and I just let it be.
Yeah.
But I, reminded my wife, I was like, remember, she corrected me, for that one
Mhm.
time. I was like, you have to think that our son is a puppy and that if he does something that's annoying, they're gonna correct them as if he's a puppy.
Yeah. Well, and our experience with Ralph is kids are unpredictable, right? Like
Mhm.
they move in unpredictable ways to a dog,
Correct.
and that can be really stressful. And so that's something that we're always aware of.
Yeah. So when that day comes, I have stuff that I send people, and then usually there's like I come in and I help them establish boundaries, like, okay, this is the nursery, you
Mm,
don't want this, blah, 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 blah. And then when it comes to interaction, I tell them for the first couple of years of the kid's life, it's just coexistence. That's
mhm,
most of what my son does with our dogs is coexistence. The interactions that he's had is like he'll be sitting on my lap and like he'll be throwing out treats, or like Luna, my wife's dog, takes treats very gently, so I'll allow him and
mhm.
her to come over to take it, but everything's supervised, everything's very strict, everything's very controlled.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's no interaction.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I almost think about it. I don't know if you guys are like in Chicago, but everyone has pools here, and there's a different level of in the back of your brain that you have to keep when you have a pool, no matter who's in your home, right?
mhm,
Because that's always going to be a risk, and no matter if they
yeah,
know how to swim or not, that's a risk.
correct.
So,
Yeah. I just
mhm,
read a story, unfortunately, about it was an autistic child that had snuck, they went to an Airbnb and snuck
yeah,
out the back door and then had drowned, unfortunately.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, um, okay. So in terms of the collar, we'd have to upgrade it, obviously.
yep,
It'd be the Dr. Black edition. Tina will send you the information. I don't
perfect.
care where you get it from. If you get it through us, it is 10% off. If you get it online, just make sure that you order the correct one and that you received the correct one.
Okay,
Um, there are multiples. It's like the base model is called 1900S, but then there's like sub models under it. So sometimes clients will just see the 1900 and then just order it, and then it's like the completely wrong model.
1900S.
Black edition.
Black edition. Okay.
They recently discontinued it because they're pushing out a different model. I still have some in stock, and I'm sure you'll still be able to find some online if you decide to get one online. Otherwise, if you get it here, it's 10% off, and then we just have it waiting for you when he shows up for his board and train.
Can
Okay.
we just go with that and just
Yeah,
decide it
that's
now?
fine.
Perfect.
If something
Yeah.
happens with it while how'd you say like let's say I'm using it and it's like, well, this is a faulty model, I just swap it out and I give you a new one. It's no big deal.
Okay.
Otherwise, after the first 30 days, we tell clients you can go through Dogtra if needed. And then like I had a client, this is like the first time it's ever happened, but like their charger was bad. So I was like, easy enough. I'm like, I just give you a new charger. Like I'm not even gonna worry about it.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so for the prong collar, is it a Herm Sprenger? Do you know?
It is. We have
Okay.
a clasp on it, so that's easy on, easy off. I don't
Okay.
know if you want to look at that.
So I don't suggest the snap buckle.
Okay.
The reason is the snap buckle, you lose one or two teeth of the prong collar.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And when it's just a flat plate, you get the full function of it. But the other thing is that the snap buckles can break.
Okay.
Okay. Because he's 130 pounds, I go, I don't want to have to worry about
Okay.
it breaking. Right. Prong collars can already become undone. It's like a thing that most trainers know. So like for example, you could be doing a pop correction and it will unsnap.
Hmm.
Okay. So what we tell clients to do is they'll take a carabiner and they'll feed it through the chain so the chain can go in and out the carabiner no problem. And they secure the carabiner to like the D-ring of the e-collar or their flat
Okay.
collar. So if it ever came undone, you're still secured to your secondary collar.
Okay.
Okay. Um, but yeah, so I would suggest a regular one. Is he on a 3 millimeter or 3.3?
3.3. He's on the
3.3?
larger one.
Yeah, yeah. Uh
Hmm.
I would see I'd probably check when he's here. Um 3.3 is fine. For it's technically for a dog about his size.
Hmm.
Um, but if it the only reason why maybe we go to 3 is that there's more teeth, which means there's more bite. So you get
Yeah.
more across with less pressure.
It
Okay.
might reduce his frustration, right? If he's getting that correction and it's not as oh, teethy. I don't know if that's the right word.
Well, technically this one would be more teethy. It's just that
Okay.
it because there's more, it requires less.
Okay. I
Okay.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. That's why I'm like earlier when you talk about popping him, right?
Hmm.
I'm not against the pops. Like pops are part of the training, but you have to make sure the dog understands everything first through pressure, and then we introduce the
Yeah.
popping.
Yeah.
And because now the dog's like, okay, this happened because I didn't do X, Y, Z, right?
Okay.
Um, and I can experiment with this. I'm not too worried about it because I have all the collars here.
Yep.
Is if I go, okay, 3 millimeter, no, let me do 3.3 like they had originally, and he's doing good because the e-collar at the end of the day is what's going to do a bulk of the work.
Yeah.
The prong collar is just there for additional leverage.
Hmm.
Okay. I just switch to the 3.3 and I say he's on a 3.3 and then we'll bill for that stuff. Okay. So that
Perfect.
I'm not too worried about.
Hmm.
Um up.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Our previous trainer did ask us to do
Hmm.
this kind of on him. Are
Hmm.
you okay with that one? This,
I would see how he does. Oh, actually, so yes and no.
okay.
Okay. I'm very much don't change anything.
Yeah.
Okay. The tools come as they are, and
Yeah.
then we use them as they are. And
Mhm.
then we see, does anything need to be changed?
Okay.
If that makes sense. Okay. So
That
the
makes
reason
sense.
why I don't like the bungee is the bungee over time, because of the stretching, begins to wear and then it becomes loose.
Yeah.
Okay. And then most people, either through laziness or through not being aware, tend not to do anything about it. And then it starts to inhibit the contact of the collar.
Hmm.
Whereas if I just use a standard strap, which it doesn't stretch out, it is what it is, we have consistency. Okay. Now, I've had clients who have on their own changed out the collar to the similar bungee style, and it's done fine. It's just I get both perspectives, right? I get the perspectives of like, oh yeah, I changed it and it works just fine, and I get the perspectives of I changed it and now my contact is poor. So that's why I
Yeah.
start simple,
The
and
the
then if we
idea
make the change,
was because he has so much skin to get a little
Mhm,
extra stretch in there so that it was because when you tighten it really tight, it's
mhm.
fine, but then the skin moves around. So that was the goal.
Yeah.
But
Normally what we do is we just pull all the folds down
yeah.
so it'd be the prong collar and then the e-collar just behind it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Um, Anytime a client has altered a collar, it's been on their own.
Hmm.
Very rarely, like the snap buckle prong collar, the only time I advise that is like if a client has arthritis, because then they
Mm,
can't take off the prongs. So I
yeah.
go, okay, but I'll tell them, just so you know, you're losing some functionality for the ease of being able to do the snap buckle, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, I start with just like the original stuff, and then if we need to alter anything, we will.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not a
Perfect.
direct no, it's just like we just see what happens.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Um, any other questions?
No, so just to regurgitate some of this for you. So the e-collar will be waiting for us. We will continue to look for a muzzle that works well for Ralph. I think it's still going to take a couple more tries to get the right
Mhm,
one for him. So we'll keep working on that. Um, sorry, I got lots of allergies. And then we'll remove the buckle on our prong collar. We're on a leather leash, which was also advised instead of like
mhm.
the like I don't know, woven
Nylon.
ones, the
Yeah.
nylon ones. Yep. So we were also on that, which is more comfortable in general. Um, I don't know. We have a lot of tools.
Yeah. No, I bet. Yeah, leather leash is fine. Leash usually doesn't matter unless it's like a flex leash and or
Yeah.
just like a really poorly made leash or whatever, or a bungee leash. I don't advise bungee leashes either.
Mm,
Just a standard nylon or as you have a leather leash is perfectly fine.
okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
In terms of length of time, at minimum, I'd recommend 3. I would take the first week to recondition Ralph to the prong collar.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty like with puppies. It's 1 week of prong and then going to e-collar
Yeah.
because in my opinion he was conditioned incorrectly. I would want to recondition that because it's not going to be a huge part of the training, but we don't want anything agitating them while we're trying to correct them for the reactivity. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
In some cases, let's say he's just like, I don't like the prong collar because of the way that it feels. Okay. And I feel like the conditioning isn't working with the food as I want it to. Okay. Then I might come in with e-collar earlier so that I can use the e-collar to correct him for fighting the leash.
Okay.
Okay. Because there has to be, because the prong collar and the e-collar are 2 separate tools to give corrections. And if one tool is agitating the dog, we can't use that same tool to correct them because it'll agitate them more. We need a
Hmm.
separate tool, right? So now he's like, okay, I'm getting agitated with this, but now this thing is happening. But the moment I relax with this thing stops. So it
Mm,
helps just give us a different line of communication and the dog's not becoming just increasingly overwhelmed. Okay.
okay. Makes sense.
But so the what really differentiates our board and trains is that I film everything. Okay.
Hmm.
So most board and trains, you drop your dog off, you pick them up, and you get your 20-minute, your 1 hour session, right? Um, I'd never liked that because you drop your dog off one way, and if the training was good, you pick up your dog another way. But how did your dog get there? Right?
Mm,
Is I train the first lesson of everything that I teach: sit, stay down, come place heel. If I'm working with the prong collar and I'm doing conditioning, you're seeing me real time doing the exercises, and I always record the first one because that's almost always where all the difficulty is. Okay, I don't record every single one, just the first one of each important thing that I'm going to teach, right?
okay.
And I make a video for each week that we have them. So the first week you'll get one video that's centered around prong collar conditioning. I send that to you once it's done, and then a week later, we begin the e-collar conditioning, right? That'll be a separate video. I send that to you when it's done. And then the third week, we're going to have another video, and I send you that when it's done, right? The first week video, probably going to run like maybe an hour, hour and a half. The
Hmm.
second week video, probably going to run 2 to 3-ish hours. The third week video, probably around 45 minutes to an hour. Okay.
Okay.
That's usually how they if it was just straight into e-collar, then it would be no first week. It would be the 2.5 hour, 3 hour one for the first one, and then the other ones are progressively shorter because all the learning is in the first week. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But you watch your dog being trained, right? It's
Awesome.
me and
Yeah.
Ralph. So if Ralph starts to act up, I'm going to explain what I'm doing. I'm going to talk through it. I'm going to work him through it as best I can, right? Ideally, I get the dog to the other end of the problem by the end of the video. So you see me go from introduction, difficulty, success,
Mhm.
ideally. Okay.
Mhm.
Very rare that I don't get that, but almost always I can. So then you watch it and you go, cool, if Ralph does that with us, now we know what to do. Okay.
Mhm.
Ideally, if we're conditioning correctly and you pick them up, it's an easy transference. Okay. But there is some degree of regression because Ralph's going from me as a trainer to back home again,
Yeah.
right? So
To
then he
the
has to
resource
learn,
he's protecting. Yeah.
yes, and then also learning like mom also has the skills to stop me,
Yeah.
right? So then
Yeah.
once he realizes, mom is just like Jesse in terms of handling and
Mhm.
using the e-collar and all that stuff, then we start to see the transference um, make progress because he's going, okay, you're just as strict as Jesse.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's what alters the behavior. Otherwise, if I don't think this is going to happen with you, but I've had it happen with clients where like their dog had a really high number. They pick up the dog from the boarding train. They're uncomfortable with the high number. So they use a
Mm.
lower number. And then,
Yeah.
they book a follow up and they're like, Jesse, our dog's being reactive. I'm like, well, the first thing out of my mouth is what's your number? Because I know. So little things like that
Yeah.
are what or
Yeah.
hinder things. But as long as you follow with everything, we're good. Um, w- with like follow up
Oh,
lessons.
can I add
Mhm.
one more thing? I am quite I'm a different dog walker than my husband is, and I feel like
Mhm.
that's been part of our issue as well. So there might be a little bit of learning that we need to do to be, the same together.
Correct. Same page. Yep.
Hmm.
So yeah, and both of you watch the video. Like it's meant for everyone
Yeah.
who's going to be hitting Ralph.
Yeah.
It also helps a lot when like it's funny because earlier I had a client and it's a couple, and they had a disagreement over something, and it wasn't a big
Mhm.
disagreement. We figured out the answer, but I've had it where couples are like trying to decide like who's right, you know, and I'm like, you have the video, like I
Well,
record these
we know
things.
who's right in our relationship, and it's me. So
So it's just a matter of getting them to actually follow through.
yes.
Now
So
keep this in mind. If you are very strict with Ralph, but your husband isn't, okay, Ralph will learn to behave with you and misbehave with your husband.
that's right.
Okay. So if that provides any kind of consolation, right? Because it's kind of like, well, I don't want my husband to hinder my progress because he's reactive most with me, right? But if you're correcting Ralph where he needs to be corrected, he's learning that mom does not play games, and
Okay.
he will change accordingly. Okay.
Okay.
But ideally, yes, we would like everybody to be on the same page. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But what your husband does not hinder you as long as you're strict with what we're doing. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, 3 week would be like the minimum. If you wanted to go like the whole 9 yards where it's like he's getting I would say he's going home as fully off leash trained as possible, then it would be a longer program. Okay. So my standard program is 4 weeks with
Okay.
e-collar. Okay. That's for full off leash. Because of Ralph with the prong conditioning, then it would be 5. Um, but at minimum, I'm suggesting 3. So that gives us the 1 week
Okay.
for prong and then 2 weeks for e-collar conditioning. For e-collar conditioning, to get a solid foundation, 2 weeks is minimum. But because of his previous prong collar training, I just want to make sure that we fix that we have 3 there. Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And you can also split them up if, by the way. So like if you decide let's do 5, we're gonna do three to get situated, but you have a trip like in Christmas that's gonna be 2 weeks,
Hmm.
you can do weeks 4 and 5 over Christmas.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That sounds
But
good.
so what you would do is we would bill you up front, you pay for 5 or whatever it is,
Hmm.
right? And then you tell us we're gonna do 3 here and we're gonna do 2 around this time. You don't have to give us exact dates, but we just know where to put you. Okay. Um, and then you do the first 3, we have some follow-ups, whatever, right? And then when you come back for the second half, we already have what we need to do to progress them, but then you might say like, hey, could you work on XYZ
Hmm.
more? Because we
Hmm.
felt like it needs some more work. And we go, yeah, not a problem. And then we have something to focus on while he's here.
Okay.
If you decide to do 3 up front and then maybe you want to do 2 separate, it's a little bit more expensive because we don't
Okay.
prorate programs.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you commit to a number up front, like 4 or 5, you're telling us, I want to do this, you get a cheaper rate. But if you do 3 and then 2, you're going to get the cost of 3 and then the cost of 2, which is going to be more expensive.
Yeah. And we will probably need some help with boarding. I travel a lot for work.
Hmm.
And Andy, my husband, he works out in Batavia, so he's like commuting out.
Mm,
So
the drive.
we'll have to figure out exactly what that looks like, but we just didn't feel like it was right to get like a doggy sitter for him or a dog walker. Like all of those things made us kind of nervous. We
Yeah.
really don't think those are going to be the right handlers for him.
If you had a
So,
smaller dog, you could get away with it. Um,
hmm
a lot of what happens, because I get clients again that with reactive dogs, whatever, that get dog walkers, and it's like, oh, I got a new dog walker and they got bit,
hmm
and it's usually like they did something wrong, right?
yeah,
Like they tell me the story, I'm like, that's exactly what I don't do. I used to walk dogs a long time ago, and I
yeah,
walked in on some dicey dogs where I'm like, yeah, but because I know what I'm doing, like I could still leash them up and get them out
yeah,
safely. So there's just human error. There's also like the dog may behave differently with the dog walker, right?
yeah,
And maybe they don't see the reactivity. So then they
yeah,
go, oh, I don't know what they're talking about. Like this dog's completely fine with me. And then they do something that you would advise them not to do. And then
yeah.
something happens because of that.
Yeah, or they get complacent and he's
Exactly.
just he's on such a like he snaps 1 second, like and that's part of what we struggle with, right? Like we need to learn to read those signs so that we can see what's happening before it happens. But
Yeah.
but so
One drawback, to be transparent with the board and train, is if I don't see it, I cannot work on it.
yeah,
Okay. So we may not see reactivity here. I will try to provoke it to work
hmm
on stuff. But if we don't see it, unfortunately, can't do anything. It doesn't mean that when you get him back, right, that we won't be able to do anything. That's why we do follow-ups. So
right,
you have your videos to help you get an understanding of everything. That itself is a wealth of information. And then you have your follow-ups. So if you did a 3 week, you would leave with 5 1 hour follow-ups.
okay,
Okay. Uh, we want to see how much do you get from the videos, right? And then whatever you're not understanding correctly, whatever you're struggling with, that's what the follow-ups are for.
yeah, okay,
Okay. So like if we don't work on reactivity, no big deal. You have follow-ups,
yeah,
right?
and to some degree, I mean, we're gonna be like half a mile away, right? And if
Hmm.
I'm the reactivity, then maybe, and I don't know how your process exactly, but maybe I need to just like stand in the corner and just
Yeah.
be in the room and not,
Yeah.
not do anything, not make eye contact or anything, but just be
Yeah.
there.
Now, once you can stop the reactivity, that's where your progress is going to happen. It
Okay.
doesn't matter where you are because you're giving him something to protect, and now the thing that he's trying to protect is telling him you need to cut the crap, and that's
Yeah.
the biggest, most important conversation that he needs to have.
That's the relationship that we need to address between me
Correct.
and him. Yeah.
Because right now
Okay.
he thinks he needs to protect you,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, and it got so much worse once because my husband's already out there. He left 2 months ago. When
Hmm.
he left, like it's just been so hard to do a lot of like it's been harder to do things since he
Mm,
left.
sure.
So,
Are you
yeah.
guys driving? Is he like coming back to so you drive with Ralph?
Yep.
I got you.
Yep.
Okay.
We got him his happy drugs already. He's gonna be all snoozed out in the car and everything.
Are the drugs as needed or is it like a regular thing?
As needed, it's
Okay.
Gabapentin, 800 milligrams, 'cause he's a big boy.
Yep.
And we've only really used it when we have new people over, just to mellow him out a little bit and be able to
Mhm.
do that introduction.
So just so you're aware, is gabapentin is a painkiller.
Hmm
So if a client is coming to me and their dog's on gabapentin, I'll tell them if you're going to do e-collar, you have to cut the gabapentin. Okay.
Okay.
And it's not that you can't use it for your road trips or these little off things, right? But like it will work against you.
Yeah.
Um,
No, we haven't felt the need to use it on any regular basis. We really are just using it situationally. Again,
mhm,
like if there's a new person around that we know we want to introduce them to, we'll
mhm,
mellow him out just to make sure that that goes a little bit more smoothly.
mhm. I gotcha. Okay.
Hmm
Anything else?
Um, is the availability to drop him off on Monday still okay?
Yep,
Like
you're
next
good.
Monday? Okay.
Yeah, you're coming at a good time because going into the winter, my boarding trains go up. And then coming into the spring, summer, boarding trains go down, but in-persons go up.
Mm,
Right. So you're coming in like in a lull. So we have space for the boarding train. That's not
okay,
an issue.
perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
When you guys drop them off, we'll have you drop them off. Anytime we have any human reactivity, we always tell clients drop their dog off muzzled.
Hmm.
Worst case scenario is if my staff cannot bring him in or he's like being reactive, whatever, is they'll have you come in and put him into a kennel. Because once the owners leave, almost always it's easy from
Yeah.
that point going on. Okay.
Yeah.
But we always do that as a precaution with any human reactive dogs. We tell clients bring them muzzled just because we've had dogs on the handoff become reactive. And Nate, who would probably be the guy who was here when you drop him off, has been muzzle punched and bitten in the stomach because the
Wow.
dog was dropped off unmuzzled.
Yeah.
It was just situational. And this particular dog we hadn't trained, and we had told them about training, and then they never did it. We ended up having to boot them because they bit my handler 2 times. So but yeah,
Wow.
we take a lot of precautions here.
Yeah.
I take aggression very seriously because I don't want anybody to get bit. So
No. Yeah. Yeah.
um
We'll make sure we and if there's anything else that you want us to address and bring with or have as part of it, we'll bring his skincare routine because he's a little drama queen. He
yeah,
needs
just
his ear
provide
cleaned out. So
instructions for that. That's not a problem.
yep.
Um oh, and then meals, we require them to be individually bagged. I know
Yep.
for a guy his size, he probably eats a decent amount. So
We have like a container that's the exact size, like a cup that's the
uh
exact size. So I don't know if that would be sufficient because otherwise we're going to
so
be going through a lot of Ziplocs.
yes, so you'll be going through a lot of Ziplocs because when we're serving the food, kibble falls.
Mm.
And then we get dogs that have allergies to certain things or whatever, or we get dogs
He's
that
very
refresh our
allergic to many things. Yeah.
yeah. So by having them all individually bagged makes it much cleaner, much simpler for the staff. Plus our kennel room is like walking, so then we have these boxes that are blocking the way. So having them ziplocked allows us to stick them over on top of their kennel space. Okay.
Perfect.
And
We'll
if you
do that.
want, like you could do like a week's worth and then drop off another week's worth or whatever. It's completely fine.
Okay.
By the way, you're also welcome to come say hi to your dog. It's not going to impact the training if you want to see that he's in good health or whatever. Do
Yeah.
expect that if you come to visit him, he's going to act like no training has been done.
Yeah.
It's not going to kick in until you begin the training yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I get clients like, hey, did you even train my dog? I'm like, I am training your dog. I sent you the videos.
Oh. He just
um,
hasn't seen you in a week and he's excited. Everything goes out the
yes.
door. Yeah.
Yes, because I know there's some board and train programs that don't allow you to visit your dog because they
That's how
say
our last one was. Yeah.
it's bullshit. Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come visit him. We just ask, it's only within a certain window because we have people that come in and out for training. And then we have dogs being dropped off for daycare and so on and so forth, is that you schedule it. Okay.
Okay.
And this way our staff knows to expect you and they'll bring them out and you can play with them. If you wanted to take them to go for a walk, you're welcome to do that. If you've already received your training video and you want to take them out for a walk and kind of see what you've learned from training video, also welcome to do that. I have no problem with it. Just keep in mind, the longer you have them away from us, nothing's being done within that time. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other
Perfect.
questions?
Um, I'm sure I'll have a bunch. I have a lot of questions about a lot of things all the time, but no, this is great. We appreciate it. This has actually been quite a relief because we were really worried. I mean, we had the conversation like, can Ralph even come with us?
Mhm.
And so we feel more comfortable with this setup than any of the other ones that we really
Yeah.
explored.
No,
So
this is not the first time this has happened. So yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
we're happy to be here for you. Any other question you may have forgotten to ask, you can email Tina or Elizabeth and then she'll relay
sure,
them to me and then they'll get back to you. Otherwise, the fecal was the one thing I know that we need. That's a fresh new fecal. And
yeah.
then vaccinations, is he already up to date as it is?
There is a couple in there that I didn't recognize that because we just did the ones that are on the Chicago Register Your Dog list. So there's a
Uh-huh.
couple on there that were not the same as
So
those. So
it's because they're Chicago and Illinois.
hmm
Okay.
okay,
One of them requires more than the other. They recently removed one of them, which I know my wife's not a big fan of vaccines as it is, that
yeah,
we've also removed off our list. So what chances are whatever she sent you is correct because we do like my pit Lexi, she had a bad reaction to a vaccine, so she's not been vaccinated for like 8 years, but she also
yeah,
is like isn't out a whole lot in terms of like being out to the dog park.
yeah.
But yeah, I know obviously rabies,
Hmm.
parvo,
Bravo
distemper,
Bordetella.
lepto, bordetella. Yeah.
Yep,
I
yep.
think it's just those five. And then the influenza one is optional. That's not
Yeah.
required. We've only had kennel cough coming through here twice many years ago, and it was because a client took their dog to the dog park and then took them to daycare, and then the dog got everybody sick. Otherwise, we've not had any of the respiratory illnesses come out through here
I
since
think we
21.
were only missing one of them, so we'll do that in the fecal. And our vet's great; they can do it same day. So,
Yeah, it's
um,
usually okay.
yeah. And he doesn't go out, so the fecal will be like,
Yeah,
um,
pretty easy. Yeah,
as fresh. That's kind of gross,
yeah.
but whatever.
All right.
We'll
Well,
take
then
care of
thanks.
that. We'll register him. We'll bring
Uh-huh.
in our tools, and then we'll schedule with Tina for a time to drop off.
Yes. Okay. She'll get you filled in on the rest.
Perfect.
Awesome. It was nice
Awesome.
talking to you, Lauren. If you have any other
Thank
questions, do
you.
let us know.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Yeah.
to meet you too. Bye bye.
All right. We'll see you Monday.